Just to give you a quick shout out, Malte, every time I make this, you can switch to the next slide. So, and the next slide, thank you so much. So I'm in innovation management, right? And innovation management means a big part desk research, always screening and talking about new technologies, but also enabling the companies of the Otto Group to then use these technologies to achieve digital excellence. And today I would like to share with you my view on blockchain and what we do with blockchain, our approach to blockchain as such. And if I do the first thing at desk research is always looking for the search graph for certain trends. And then we can see that a lot of people have searched for blockchain. That wasn't just me, I hope. And therefore, I would like to just take a few seconds to explain blockchain in very, very short and very, very simple. So blockchain means a type of protocol that is there to log in information and log in the change of information, and then to distribute that information to all participants. And what this means is that blockchain as such is really interesting for retailers because it's almost acting like a database that in real time distributes information between participants that are acquired to work with each other. I heard the first time about blockchain on a bar camp at a university in 2015. And then the guys told me about Bitcoin. And I was like, oh yeah, sounds great, but anonymous cryptocurrency for the Otto Group is not that important right now. But maybe I look in this for myself later on. But actually I never did, and I still mad about this. But then in 2017, I opened up the discussion about blockchain within the Otto Group, which means that I talked to different teams, different companies, because if you could switch to the next slide, the Otto Group is a conglomerate of a lot of different companies. We have companies in logistics, we have companies in retail, in fashion, in everything you can just think of, and in finance as well, and in services as well. So you see there's a lot of potential there to test a technology like blockchain. And what the next step I did was then, of course, looking into use cases. Again, we're still on the desk research phase, where I try to draw, how can I say that, draw a more clear picture of what blockchain is capable of beyond Bitcoin. And then we can see a lot of cases like digital right management, proof of identity, of course, when you talk about customers and retail, or payments, cross-border payments. A lot of companies of ours are distributed worldwide. So I was really eager to test blockchain within the Otto Group and really dove deep within use cases. And then, of course, I looked at the startup scene at the time, where a lot of startups, even in Germany, were already working on real solutions, and even solutions that are... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cross this through. I wanted to highlight. I don't know why it's not showing on the on the slide, but you know there were a lot of startups already in finance, in e-commerce, in identity, and stuff like this. Sorry for this mistake. But so the question was in 2017, early 2018, are we already too late for this topic? But then I thought, oh no, we are not, because that was the time when finally the hype around cryptocurrencies died down. So you really had the chance to talk about use cases that are beyond Bitcoin and are able to accelerate certain topics. And the second thing is blockchain use cases take a lot of work. Sure, it's quite easy to launch a prototype with existing solutions like Amazon. Amazon Web Services has a possibility to launch blockchain prototypes, or even Microsoft, IBM. But when you really want to learn about the technology, really want to find a prototype that is aligned with your overall strategy, it takes a lot of time. And that's basically what we did then. We said, yeah, we really want to take the topic for us in the long term, in long run. And then we challenged our infrastructure and our business models. And this is, for me, honestly, the most crucial part of talking about blockchain, because when you look at all the challenges blockchain can help with, it's most often the challenge in infrastructure or in the business models. And spoiler alert, when you do this with your company or with your team, you will find a lot of use cases you absolutely have to address, whether with blockchain or not. And that's a big part of the work I did then, to find solutions for the problems we found then in our infrastructure or in our business problems. And the next thing is, sorry, I don't know why it's not so good looking, but then to see, okay, that are challenges that blockchain can solve for me is topics like shared data. As I said, we have a lot of different companies within the Otto Group, and of course we want to work on shared data. And if we want to work on shared data, especially in Germany, there are laws that are quite stringent in this topic. So we have to find ways, and blockchain can help with us, with this, to make it possible, and then to put on new business models on this. And this would be, can you click one more, please? There's an animation on the, thank you. This is the time for the big vision, right? You have to sell it to management, you have to sell it to the board, and you need a big vision for a blockchain use case, because only then it's really showing the potential when you work with different companies, when you work with companies that are your competitors, when you have self-services on blockchain and stuff. But the thing you need to then underlay your big vision is the most tiniest prototype you even can think of, because the technology is still in its beginnings. There are a lot of gaps in infrastructure, there are a lot of gaps in usability, so you have to make sure that your prototype proves what you want to prove with discussing your big vision. Because there are so many influences that can go wrong, or that are valid for your prototype, you have to really focus on what you want to prove with your prototype. So just to make it clear, it's not a marketing hype theme to just say, okay, Otto Group finally has a blockchain prototype. We really want to learn and accelerate on the topic. And then the next thing would be, of course, collaboration. And this is the stage we are in right now. At the moment, we are focusing on collaborating with each other. As I said, there are a lot of companies with different focuses. We have logistics, we have finance, we have e-commerce. So the first step for us is, in learning about blockchain, to collaborate with each other and to bring in partners that can help us learn about the technology. And this would be almost my last slide, if you could just show it up. This is what we are doing right now at the moment. We have a really high-frequented community, blockchain community in the Otto Group, where different experts from different companies are talking to each other, working on prototypes together, getting change of information about what's happening with the topic. I give frequently talks about this thing, just like right now, for board members, for small teams, for marketing teams, for finance teams, for all the people that have still this kind of knowledge about the hype within their heads, but would like to know the real potential about blockchain. Also, we have the test teams that are cooperating with partners from, let's say, from the outside world or with partners within the Otto Group. And we're doing this in the topics of logistics. Of course, I think everyone who ever talked about blockchain is sure that logistics is a quite heavy field to look into. Then there's, of course, the guys from finance that are really interested in the topic, not just for currencies, but to explore more the topic of cross-border payments. And in e-com, there's more the idea to find solutions for platforms. You know, in e-com, one of the big things at the moment is platform. Everything is platform, and why not try to explore a platform that's based on blockchain, for example, for self-services to onboard on marketplaces. But honestly, what I said, this is more like a test environment, a learn environment. It's not that we are planning to go outside in, I don't know, this year or the next year saying, okay, this is our blockchain solution, you can buy it now or you can use it now. We understand the topic more as an infrastructure topic that we have to address now, where we have to build up knowledge right now so that we can profit from that knowledge in the years to come when we want to explore the topic deeper or get in conversations with bigger partners. And that's, so to say, my top tips for you. Do your research, challenge yourself, challenge your infrastructure, challenge your business model, build prototypes and learn from it. So to say, when your prototype is sharp enough, tiny enough that you can really learn from it and not just say, okay, we did it, but what now? And collaborate. I mean, we're quite lucky to have so many partners within the Otto Group, but collaborate, get in contact with different people that are already working on the solution. And what I have to do, or what we have to do in the Otto Group, is do all these 4 steps with all the other technologies coming into retail, coming into e-commerce right now, like AI, conversational commerce, extended reality. So blockchain is really just one topic for us that we are trying to tackle in the future. Thank you so much for your interest, and I'm open to question if you have some.
All right, just to not let go of time. We do have a couple of minutes left. So are there any questions from the audience? Or let me ask another question. Who has the first questions out of the audience? I'm just trying to jump down. Coming to you. Hi. What's your name?
Hans.
Hi, Hans.
Hello. Thank you, Constance. Very interesting.
You're welcome.
I think it's some of the challenges are typical innovation challenges, but some of the challenges probably are process challenges. So what would be an example how you use blockchain in a direct, say, communication or interaction with customers?
With the customer, not as much, because we are on the point that we say it's not a added value for the customer to know that a solution is blockchain. That's not the added value as such. For example, Otto.de, the retailer, is part of a login alliance where you can register and then log in into different online shops as such, like a Facebook login. But then we said that's a really great thing to have, but what is the added value in doing it with blockchain when no customer understands blockchain? So we are really looking into B2B solutions, like I said, cross-border payment platform and stuff.
Any further questions? Anyone from the audience has any questions? Well, then let me just ask you, we just met right before the presentation, and when I hear blockchain, I automatically think of cryptocurrency. What's the most likely way you found out so far in your business that you might use it within the future, but haven't sold it or solved it yet?
Let me say, you're not the first to think of Bitcoin. When you hear blockchain, a lot of talks I give within the Otto Group starts with, okay guys, I would like to talk about blockchain, but I'm not here to give finance advice. And then half of the audience leaves. So, considering your question, when do we think we might use cryptocurrencies? The thing is, when I look at the retailers in the Otto Group that are considering payment options, they are really service-oriented for their customers, and they offer different payment options. So cryptocurrencies would be just another payment option, right? But the thing is, you have to then find a way to make the value stable. I don't know the word right now. The course. And then have a way to even out the losses and wins you make throughout. Because for example, if I would now buy shoes from Otto.de and would like to pay with Bitcoin, that would be not so great at the moment, or might be great for me because I have a lot of Bitcoins and can then just buy a lot of stuff on. But when we look at the end of last year, I would have a lot of less value within my currency, and Otto would have then find a way to make it even. Sorry, it's hard to explain in English.
All right, okay. Are there any further questions from the audience? Anyone who's interested in how the Otto Group is working with blockchain?
Hi, thank you. So how do you test these new methods, including blockchain and also cryptocurrency? Do you have a beta community at Otto Group doing this before you actually offer these new solutions to your customers?
How we test certain things, right? So we're just right now in a phase where we just test intern. So you can say it's a beta community, but really it's just we say it's focus teams. There's teams of, for example, there's a team considering of team members of Hermes and of Otto Group IT who work together to build a prototype and learn from it, and then to give their insights back to the Otto Group. But it's not that their job is to be a beta testing team. So they just found for the topic.
You mentioned before about the fact that blockchain can be used for marketplaces. Aside from the payment, what are the major tracks you see where blockchain may affect marketplace market and the role of, for example, Otto for retailers and buyers?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I have to answer really hypothetical because we are not working on any of these cases. But if you can imagine the information of ownership. So I can talk about how I can return my stuff that isn't functioning anymore, or I can track information which of the, let's say, fridges I have in my house, so that when the service team comes, they already know which stuff it is, or in licensing and stuff. Also there's a lot of interesting topics, but they are much, much bigger than you can build a prototype because it's a lot of politics and a lot of regulation.
Do we have any further questions? Anyone interested? Otherwise, yeah, young gentleman in the middle.
Hi, what are companies that you're kind of looking at in the blockchain space where you think they're developing really great technology, where you're kind of jealous that maybe you would have thought of it, or which would be very innovative in the e-commerce space?
Oh, okay. There are so many. Where I would be really jealous that we haven't done this ourselves. Maybe companies like Provenance that have tackled the tracking within the supply chain. That is a really cool thing to do, and they have really big partners like Walmart, with which they are working together. But as I just showed, at least in Germany, there are already 100 startups, so there are really, really so many companies to look up to.
All right. So one last question. And then I spoke to Constance already, and she offered that everybody who has further questions is more than welcome to write an email at her contact dates. And what's your question?
Hi, my name is Peram from Mayato GmbH. I would like to know if you develop yourself, or do you use existing technologies that are already developed?
We are not developing own protocols. That would be an option as well, you know. But we're doing both. One of the prototypes is with a partner who's developing blockchain solutions for themselves. And then there's another solution which is really, really small that we're trying to develop ourselves on an existing protocol with web services, for example.
All right. Thanks a lot, Constance.
You're welcome.
I suggest if there are any further questions, Constance is right here next to the stage for the next couple of minutes and is more than welcoming a couple of people of you. But since you already told me that you're interested in some of the other keynotes as well, so maybe a couple of guys are more than welcome to ask her direct, or on the other side, you're still welcome to contact her on a mail. Thanks, Constance.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And give it a hand. I'm a bit handicapped.